Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay. With me is Anuja Kumar with the Midday News. The headlines. Counting of votes for the presidential election underway at Parliament House in New Delhi. Both houses of Parliament witnessed frequent disruptions following opposition uproar on different issues including price rise and ED summoning Congress President. Niti Aayog releases third edition of India Innovation Index. Karnataka, Manipur and Chandigarh topped in different categories. Chemicals and Fertilizers Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia launches schemes for strengthening pharmaceuticals industry in New Delhi. Congress President Sonia Gandhi appears before Enforcement Directorate in connection with alleged money laundering case linked to National Herald. Ranil Wickremesinghe takes oath as Sri Lankan President. Rishi Sunak took contest with Liz Truss for the final ballot to succeed Boris Johnson as UK Prime Minister. Anu Rani qualifies for the final of the World Athletics Championships at Oregon in US. Neeraj Chopra to play in the qualification round tomorrow. In badminton, Indian duo of Ishan Bhatnagar and Tanisha Crasto advances to the mixed doubles quarterfinals of Taipei Open tournament. Counting of votes for the presidential election has started at Parliament House. First, the MPs' votes will be counted and then the votes of state assemblies. Earlier ballots polled at Parliament House and state assemblies were segregated by the poll officials for this purpose. Polling for the presidential election was held at Parliament House and state assemblies across the country on the 18th of this month. Former Jharkhand Governor Draupadi Murmu is the NDA candidate for the presidential election. Former Union Minister Yashwant Sinha is the opposition candidate for the country's top post. Over 99% electors' turnout was recorded in the presidential election. 100% voting by MLAs was reported from 11 states and Union Territory of Puducherry. The states are Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, Sikkim and Tamil Nadu. The term of the incumbent President Ramnath Kovind will end on the 24th of this month. Opposition parties continue to disrupt the proceedings of the Lok Sabha over price rise, inflation, GST hike on essential commodities and ED summons to Congress President. The Congress members were sloganeering against ED summons to the party president, while other members of opposition parties raised slogans against price rise and GST increase over essential products. When the House met for the day, opposition members trooped to the well displaying placards. Amidst din, Speaker Om Birla took up the question hour. The agitating members did not heed to the repeated requests of the Speaker to go back to their seats and allow the proceedings to take place. As pandemonium continued, the chair adjourned the House till 11:30 a.m. Amidst pandemonium, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi made it clear that the government is ready to discuss price rise as wanted by the opposition members when the Business Advisory Committee decides. Mr. Joshi wondered if the Congress President is above law.
का प्रॉब्लम क्या है? सदन चलाना चाहते हैं, नहीं चलाना चाहते हैं, और जिसके बारे में अभी तकिया लेके आया है, इनके बारे में मैं पूछना चाहूँ, एवरीबडी इज इक्वल इन द लॉ और नॉट? ये कानून के सामने सब समान है या नहीं है? क्या कांग्रेस के अध्यक्ष है तो सुपर ह्यूमन बीइंग है क्या? कानून हमको संबंध नहीं है, ऐसा सोचते हैं?
The Rajya Sabha today continued to witness protests by the opposition parties over the issue of price rise, GST hike on essential items and MSP. When the House met after the first adjournment at 12 noon, members from AAP, DMK, Left and others trooped into the well, raising slogans against the government over the issues. Amid then, a deputy chairman, Harivansh, tried to run the question hour, while repeatedly urging the agitating members to go back to their seats. Amid pandemonium, he adjourned the House for 10 minutes till 12:35 p.m. When the House met after the adjournment, the opposition continued with their protest. Earlier in the morning, when the House met for the day, it was adjourned till 12 noon, following protest by the Congress over questioning of party President Sonia Gandhi by the Enforcement Directorate in an alleged money laundering case. Party MPs trooped into the well displaying placards. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu warned them that he will have to name the agitating members. But the MPs continued their protest. Prior to that, nominated member Virendra Hegde was administered the oath by the chairman. Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri said that over 1 crore 22 lakh houses have been sanctioned till March this year under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban Housing for All mission. Out of these, the minister informed that 61 lakh houses have been handed over to the beneficiaries in different states, while the rest of them have been grounded.
I am very happy to announce and place before this House that by 31st March this year, as against the target based on demand assessment which originally stood at 1 crore, we had already sanctioned 1 crore 22 lakh homes under 4 separate verticals. That has already been completed. Out of this figure of 1 crore 22 lakh homes, 61 lakh homes under 4 different verticals have already been handed over to the beneficiaries. The remaining ones already stand grounded, and given the technology in use, it takes typically between 12 months to 18 or 24 months or slightly more for the construction to be completed.
Replying to supplementaries in the Lok Sabha today, Mr. Puri said the central assistance has been extended for providing all-weather Pakka houses to all eligible urban beneficiaries, including homeless people. The minister informed about 41 lakh houses of the total have been sanctioned during the last 2 years. He highlighted 6 advanced and latest building technologies have also been adopted for the Housing for All mission.
The Union government today said that there is no proposal under consideration to review the growing minority population, especially in West Bengal. In a written reply in the Lok Sabha, Minority Affairs Minister Smriti Irani said the centre has notified 6 communities, namely Christians, Sikhs, Muslims, Buddhists, Jains and Parsis as minority communities under National Commission for Minorities Act 1992. The minister said the population of minorities in the country has increased from over 19 crore 37 lakh as per census 2001 to more than 23 crore 38 lakh as per census 2011. Ms. Irani said the population of minorities in West Bengal also increased from over 2 crore 11 lakh to 2 crore 57 lakh during this period. Jal Shakti Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat today said that the centre received several proposals for lifting of water from surplus to deficit river basins. Replying to supplementaries in the Lok Sabha, the minister said the people of Bundelkhand will be immensely benefited with the proposed Ken-Betwa river linking project. Recalling the tripartite agreement signed by the centre, Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh governments, the minister said other states can also get benefit with similar river linking projects between surplus and deficit basins. He said there is no proposal under consideration as of now to take up barrage below Polavaram project near Dhabaleshwaram on river Godavari.
Jal Shakti Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat today made it clear that the primary responsibility lies with the state governments to take systematic measures to prevent losses due to floods. He, however, assured that the centre always be ready to extend help beyond. Replying to a question in the Lok Sabha, the minister said the centre is taking all measures to prevent losses due to floods, especially due to heavy rains in upper catchment areas in neighbouring countries like Nepal. He informed that a 5-day flood forecasting system has been established with Nepal currently. He added that the centre is constantly being in touch with the neighbouring countries to prevent loss of life and property during the floods. The Union government today said the installation of the rooftop solar RTS plant is financially viable without any financial support. Replying to supplementaries in the Lok Sabha today, Minister of State for New and Renewable Energy, Bhagwant Khouba, said the cost of RTS has reduced and consumers are paying high electricity tariff, including government schools and offices. He further informed that the central financial support for installation of RTS in all sectors has been discontinued under the second phase of the RTS program, except for the residential sector.
Amid logjam in the Rajya Sabha, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu today spoke to opposition leaders to enable smooth functioning of the upper house. Sources said Mr. Naidu spoke to Congress leaders Mallikarjun Kharge and Jairam Ramesh, Professor Ram Gopal Yadav of the Samajwadi Party and Derek O'Brien of the TMC. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur today said government has taken action against several YouTube channels which were involved in spreading fake news. Replying to supplementaries in the Rajya Sabha, Mr. Thakur said his ministry has blocked 94 YouTube channels, 19 social media accounts and 747 URLs. Raising questions over the opposition protest in Parliament, Mr. Thakur accused the opposition of spreading misinformation about GST hike, Agnipath scheme and COVID vaccination. He wondered why the opposition ruled states did not raise objections on the GST hike in the GST Council meeting. He also alleged that the misinformation was spread about the Agnipath scheme.
और अखबार के पत्र भी उनको या टीवी चैनल भी उनको उस तरह से प्राथमिकता ना दें, सच देश के सामने जाए, ऐसी हमारी प्राथमिकता सदा उचित है.
Congress Interim President Sonia Gandhi today appeared before the Enforcement Directorate in Delhi in the National Herald case. She was accompanied by her daughter and party leader Priyanka Gandhi Vadra. Ms. Gandhi's son and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi was also questioned for 5 days in this case earlier. Rahul and Sonia Gandhi are being probed under the provisions of Prevention of Money Laundering Act in this case. The BJP today hit out at the Congress for its protest after the Enforcement Directorate asked the party interim chief Sonia Gandhi to appear before it for questioning. Addressing media in New Delhi, senior BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad said that the Congress protest is not a satyagrah, but it is a duragrah against the law as well as the institutions of the country. He said both Ms. Gandhi and party leader Rahul Gandhi are accused in the case and are on bail.
कांग्रेस पार्टी सत्याग्रह नहीं, देश और देश के कानून और देश की संस्थाओं के खिलाफ दुराग्रह. देश को हम ये बताना चाहते हैं कि मामला है क्या. सोनिया जी और राहुल गांधी इस मामले में एक्यूज्ड हैं, बेल पर हैं, जिसमें धोखाधड़ी 420 का भी आरोप. मेट्रोपॉलिटन मजिस्ट्रेट ने कॉग्निजेंस लिया, उसके खिलाफ हाईकोर्ट गए, हाईकोर्ट ने पिटीशन रिजेक्ट किया. सुप्रीम कोर्ट गए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने पिटीशन रिजेक्ट किया. इनकम टैक्स ने इस पूरे मामले को जांचा और अनियमितता पर गंभीर टिप्पणी की और टैक्स लगाया. उसके खिलाफ इनकम टैक्स ट्राइब्यूनल गए ये लोग, वहां भी सफलता नहीं मिली.
Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur has said it is the duty of the probe agencies to investigate people involved in corruption. Speaking to reporters outside Parliament, Mr. Thakur said, if Gandhi family is spotless, why is it anxious? He wondered if they have not indulged in corruption, then why this ruckus?
अगर किसी ने भ्रष्टाचार किया हो, उससे पूछताछ करना जांच एजेंसियों का काम है. आखिरकार अगर गांधी परिवार के पास और कांग्रेस पार्टी के पास छिपाने के लिए कुछ ना हो तो हंगामा करने की जरूरत नहीं. तिलमिलाहट क्यों है, घबराहट क्यों है, छटपटाहट क्यों है? ये कहीं ना कहीं दिखाता है कि दाल में कुछ ना कुछ काला है या पूरी दाल ही काली.
Karnataka, Manipur and Chandigarh have topped in their respective categories in the third edition of Niti Aayog's India Innovation Index. Niti Aayog Vice Chairman Suman Beri today released the index in New Delhi. Member Dr. V.K. Saraswat and Niti Aayog CEO Parmeshwaran Iyer were also present on the occasion. The India Innovation Index is a comprehensive tool for the evaluation and development of the country's innovation ecosystem. It ranks the states and union territories on their innovation performance to build healthy competition amongst them. Karnataka has once again topped in the major states category, while Manipur is leading the Northeast and Hill States category. Chandigarh is the top performer in the Union Territories and City States category. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Berry advocated for creating an innovation culture in the country, saying a large investment from different stakeholders will play a crucial role in achieving the feat. He said rising living standards depend on productivity and it can further be increased with innovation only, as innovation culture helps in national economy development. The Vice Chairman said innovations hold the key to address various environmental challenges facing many countries.
Chemicals and Fertilizers Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia today launched schemes for strengthening pharmaceuticals industry in New Delhi with focus on micro, small and medium enterprises and clusters. The schemes are Pharmaceutical and Medical Device Promotion and Development Scheme, PMDPS, and Assistance to Pharmaceutical Industries for Common Facility Scheme. The scheme will address the issues of technology upgradation at both unit level and cluster level. Speaking on the occasion, Dr. Mandavia said the new scheme have many benefits that will go a long way in making the Indian pharmaceutical industry Atmanirbhar more resilient and future ready. He said government is committed to unlocking the enormous potential of the pharma industry. The minister stressed on the need to focus on research to strengthen the pharma sector.
दुनिया की भाषा में दुनिया के एक्सपेक्टेशन के अनुसार हमें हमारी फार्मा इंडस्ट्रीज को स्ट्रेंथन करना है, हमारा फार्मा क्लस्टर को स्ट्रेंथन करना है। आज 80 अबव हमारा फार्मा क्लस्टर है। ये फार्मा क्लस्टर में हमें दोनों चीजों को ध्यान में रखना है, क्योंकि फार्मा इंडस्ट्रीज में पोल्यूशन की कई संभावनाएं होती है, कई इंडस्ट्रीज से हैजार्डस वेस्ट निकलते हैं। क्या उसका कॉमन ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट हम कर सकते हैं?
More than 200 crore 91 lakh vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under nationwide vaccination drive. The Health Ministry said more than 29 lakh 12,000 doses were administered in the last 24 hours. During the same period, 21,566 new COVID cases were reported in the country. India's active case load currently stands at 1,48,881 and it is at 0.34%. The recovery rate is currently at 98.46%. A total of 18,294 people have recovered in the last 24 hours.
Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan today held a discussion with his Australian counterpart Jason Clare through video conference. In a tweet, Mr. Pradhan said Jason Clare assured speedy resolving of visa issues for the Indian students enrolled in universities and educational institutions in Australia. He said that they also spoke about deeper collaborations in the skills, higher education and school education sector and imparting world-class skilling to the Indian workforce. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Counting of votes for the presidential election underway at Parliament House in New Delhi. Both houses of Parliament witnessed frequent disruptions following opposition uproar on different issues, including price rise and ED summoning Congress President. Niti Aayog releases third edition of India Innovation Index. Karnataka, Manipur and Chandigarh topped in different categories. Chemicals and Fertilizers Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia launches schemes for strengthening pharmaceuticals industry in New Delhi. Congress President Sonia Gandhi appears before Enforcement Directorate in connection with alleged money laundering case linked to National Herald. Ranil Wickremesinghe takes oath as the Sri Lankan President. Rishi Sunak to contest with Liz Truss for the final ballot to succeed Boris Johnson as the UK Prime Minister. Annu Rani qualifies for the final of World Athletics Championships at Oregon in US. Neeraj Chopra to play in the qualification round tomorrow. And in badminton, Indian duo of Ishan Bhatnagar and Tanisha Crasto advances to the mixed doubles quarterfinals of Taipei Open Tournament. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Listen to Commonwealth Games quiz with AIR News Sportscan at 7:20 p.m. every day. All you have to do is reply to a question on the Commonwealth Games. Email your answers at airsportscan@gmail.com. The first correct answer will be selected as the winner and rewarded with a jersey of the Indian Commonwealth Games team. So keep cheering to India, listening to Sportscan at 7:20 p.m. on FM Gold 100.1 MHz and on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official.
क्या आप वरिष्ठ नागरिक हैं? क्या आपके मन में सेहत, आर्थिक, सामाजिक या भावनात्मक मुद्दों से जुड़ा कोई सवाल है? आकाशवाणी आपके लिए लेकर आया है कार्यक्रम एक कदम और बुजुर्गों के लिए, हर रविवार रात 9:30 बजे FM गोल्ड पर। आप अपने सवाल हमें व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर भेज सकते हैं या इस पते पर ईमेल कर सकते हैं एक कदम और airnews@gmail.com। 24 जुलाई को सुनिए कार्यक्रम का पहला अंक। आपके सवाल हमें 22 जुलाई तक मिल जाने चाहिए।
Welcome back. You're listening to the Midday News. Pradhan Mantri Vayo Vandana Yojana have completed 5 years today. The scheme was formally launched on this day in 2017. The scheme is a social security scheme for senior citizens intended to give an assured minimum pension to them based on an assured return on the purchase price or subscription amount. The minimum investment in the scheme was revised to 1,56,658 rupees for pension of 12,000 per annum and 1,62,162 rupees for getting a minimum pension amount of 1,000 rupees per month. The scheme, which was under implementation till 2020, has further been extended for 3 years up to 31st March 2023. In Jammu and Kashmir, 11,295 pilgrims paid their obeisance at the Holy Cave Shrine of Sri Amarnath Ji yesterday. With this, the total number of pilgrims who have performed the darshan since the annual yatra began has touched over 2,32,000 mark. A fresh batch of 2,090 yatris, including 440 women and 45 children, started the onward journey from Pahalgam, Nunwan Base Camp towards Chandanwari in the wee hours today.
In Sri Lanka, Ranil Wickremesinghe today took oath as the president at the Parliament complex this morning. He was elected to the post yesterday, receiving 134 votes. His closest rival, Dullas Alha Peruma, received 82 votes. In the 225-member parliament, 223 MPs voted to elect a new president. Soon after Ranil Wickremesinghe's election, protesters hit the streets saying they do not accept him as their president. Last week, protesters had burnt down his private home and also stormed his prime ministerial office in Colombo in demonstrations against his leadership. Rishi Sunak has clinched his place for the final leg of the race to succeed Boris Johnson as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Mr. Sunak will now go head-to-head with Foreign Secretary Liz Truss as one of the two finalists to take charge as the UK PM and Conservative Party leader. Sunak won the fifth and final voting round of Tory MPs with a resounding 137 votes, while second place Truss won the support of 113 MPs.
And now let's listen to a special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
Bharat amar, Bharat varsho swadesh amar, shopnugo, tumate amoralo bhiya janumo, dhanno hoyechi dhanno.
21st of July is the death anniversary of one of the pioneer leaders of the nationalist movement, Umesh Chandra Banerjee. Born on the 29th of December 1844 in Calcutta, Banerjee went to England to study law in 1864. In 1868, he returned to Calcutta and started his legal practice. He was able to gain a good reputation as a barrister. In 1882, he became the first Indian to be appointed as a standing counsel. He famously defended Surendranath Banerjee in a case in the High Court of Calcutta.
Umesh Chandra Banerjee was the president of the first session of the Indian National Congress in December 1885 at Bombay. In the second session the following year, which was presided over by Dadabhai Nauroji, Banerjee suggested that the party form standing committees for every province to have good coordination of its functioning. Banerjee was president of the party one more time in 1892 at Allahabad.
He also lived in England for a while and practiced law there. While he was a resident there, the Liberal Party gave him a seat to contest in the elections to the House of Commons. Although he was defeated, he became the first Indian to contest elections for the British Parliament. He passed away in Calcutta in 1906, aged 61. AIR News salutes the nationalist leader Umesh Chandra Banerjee.
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जान रे.
We remember freedom fighter Jairam Das Daulatram, who was born on the 21st of July 1891 in Karachi, now in Pakistan, In 1915, Jairam Das came into personal contact with Mahatma Gandhi and became his follower. He also participated in the Home Rule movement. Jairam Das joined the Indian National Congress and participated in the non-cooperation movement in 1920. He was also a leading activist in the Salt March and the Quit India movement.
Jairam Das stayed in India during the partition and was appointed the first Indian governor of Bihar. He represented a constituency from Punjab in the Constituent Assembly of India. From 1950 to 1956, Daulat Ram served as the governor of Assam. He breathed his last on 1st of March 1979. AIR News salutes the great nationalist.
We also remember the last Mizo Azad Hind Fauj member, Dathwama Rentley, who died on the 21st of July 2019. Born in 1920 in the state's Pukpui village, Rentley had served in the medical corps of the Indian Army prior to becoming a freedom fighter. During World War II, he was sent to Malaysia, where he had fought the invading Japanese soldiers. However, he was captured and taken to Singapore as a prisoner of war.
He met Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose when the latter once visited the prison. Following his release, he joined the Azad Hind Fauj and fought the British Army in Myanmar, along with fellow rebels and Japanese soldiers. However, they surrendered in the aftermath of the bombings in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The British convicted Rentley for waging a war against them and put him behind bars. He was released 2 years later in 1945 following the intervention of Mahatma Gandhi.
The Indian government awarded him the Tamra Patra in 1972 for his role in the struggle for Indian independence. The noble soul breathed his last on the 21st of July 2019 at the age of 99. We salute this great independence fighter.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
अब हर घर की छत पर शान से फहरेगा तिरंगा, गुनगुनाए जाएंगे नव विकास के गीत, आन बान शान का प्रतीक राष्ट्रध्वज तिरंगा। आइए आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर इस स्वाधीनता दिवस हर घर फहराते हैं तिरंगा और लेते हैं भव्य और सशक्त भारत के निर्माण का संकल्प।
आइए हर घर फहराएं तिरंगा।
On to sports. In badminton, India's mixed doubles pair of Ishan Bhatnagar and Tanisha Krasto have advanced to the quarterfinals of the Taipei Open tournament today. The duo beat the Taiwanese pair of Cheng Canwen and Wong Yu Kwao in their second round match today. India's star javelin thrower Anu Rani qualified for the final of the World Athletics Championships 2022 in the U.S. state of Oregon today. She finished with the best throw of 59.6 meters in her third and final round. Olympic champion Neeraj Chopra will compete in the qualification round, Group A of men's javelin throw tomorrow.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Counting of votes for presidential election underway at Parliament House in New Delhi. Both houses of parliament witnessed frequent disruptions following opposition uproar on different issues including price rise and ED summoning Congress President. Niti Aayog releases third edition of India Innovation Index. Karnataka, Manipur and Chandigarh topped in different categories. Chemicals and Fertilizers Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia launches schemes for strengthening pharmaceuticals industry in New Delhi. Congress President Sonia Gandhi appears before Enforcement Directorate in connection with alleged money laundering case linked to National Herald. Ranil Wickremesinghe takes oath as Sri Lankan President. Rishi Sunak to contest with Liz Truss for the final ballot to succeed Boris Johnson as UK Prime Minister. Anu Rani qualifies for the final of the World Athletics Championships at Oregon and US. Neeraj Chopra to play in the qualification round tomorrow. And with that, we end the Midday News.